Hello everyone, Mr. Dolphin here. Today I'm going to talk about the upcoming wipe, the new claim system, and the announced war system. A lot of stuff they're pointing out in here in the latest cabinet log. So regarding the wipe, I think it's a good idea. I think it will give everyone a good chance to start, especially with all these new systems being put in place. So as a wipe, in my opinion, makes sense. Now I'm gonna give you my thoughts and feedback regarding some of the things that they pointed out in here. So let me go through this. So players can now build anywhere without owning settlement, and now which has been claimed. An island which has been claimed is now known as a settlement. Only one claim flag can be placed per island, and the owner player company is the owner of that settlement. And there will be a hard limit on the total of claim flags. So up to this point, I'm like, wait, so if I understand correctly, let's say on the wipe date, if I rush to an island A or B, and go place my claim flag, that means I automatically, as a member of a company or as a player, own that island? I feel like, I don't think that will stay, because, or I need more information on this, because if I just rush to an island, place a flag, that means I own that entire island and no one else, and I mean other people can build on it, but I own that island. And I think a lot of players, I think the mentality of survival players are, well, I want this for myself. I don't want to live under your rules unless I have to, right? So I don't know how that's gonna work. I think I don't like the idea of having to rush to an island just to claim one, and like if I didn't get there quick enough, someone else owns that island. So I don't know. They need to change it around where, like, because people would just rush and try to claim an island, and I don't see that working out very well. So yeah, especially because a game like this has, technically speaking, an unlimited amount of people that can go into the game, right? It can be like, but you only have a limited amount of islands. So because of that, let's say I play the game on wipe date, and I go claim an island, and then people who log into the game 3 hours, 5 hours, 8 hours after that wipe go in, they're gonna have to travel pretty far, and they're gonna see, oh well, I can't really claim that island, but I can build on your island. But a lot of players are possessive, have the mentality, I want to have this for myself first. So there's gonna be a lot of issues with people, you know, unable to be able to be the owners of that specific settlement. So I think they should change it so you can't really claim the whole island by yourself, right? But make it so like either player's gonna have to fight for ownership, or something like that, right? There will be a hard limit on the total number of flags. I'm totally okay with that. That makes sense. That way people won't just claim an entire island and not live on it, which is what happens at the moment in the current game. Islands are given a rank based on their location, size, and how valuable they are. These rankings will be used to determine upkeep, as well as identify the top 10 companies with some well damage. Okay, that sounds pretty good. And structures that are built on islands are now settlements and can be raided at any moment. Structures that are built on islands that are now settlements can be raided on at any moment. Okay. Fog of War and Shroud of War has been eliminated, so entire atlas will be shown to everyone. I think that's actually a really good thing. That way I know what I'm running into. World map will now show the name of an island, which can be changed by the settlement owners, who a settlement is owned by a current tax and a current war. I think that's pretty good. The more information you have about a particular island, the better. Islands will have color overlay for ownership, owned by you, an ally, or an ally. Okay. NPC crew offensive and defensive city structures will no longer count towards the time limit. Okay, that's actually a good thing. It's technically just like having auditories from Ark in a way. But that also means that players, since that doesn't count towards the time limit, that means that players will have an unlimited amount of puckles or shovel guns and stuff like that. Because if that means if my defensive structures don't have a limit, that means I will have 300 to 400 or whatever amount of puckles or defensive structures manned by an AI, around my base. So I don't know how I feel about that. Like the time limit allowed to have defensive structures, but didn't allow you to have that many, because you need AI for your crew on your ships, and if you have too many defensive structures, you couldn't have enough AI. So that's one of the problems people were running into in mega companies. There was like, well, the time limit is this, but we cannot have this many defensive structures because we will reach the time limit, and we need AI for our ships. So people were getting, a lot of mega companies were getting a little more creative, where they strategically place their puckles in some of their defensive structures. So I think, I don't know how I feel about that. I think there needs to be a limit on how many defensive structures you can place, or they just need to reverse that and just have a higher time limit. Because if you don't put a limit on how many specific defensive structures I can make, that means I can just put as many, and we'll just have like R 2.0, where I have like 100 to 1,000 turrets around my base, which what will happen if you live like this. Company limit has been reduced to 150 members. I think that's not bad. I think it's pretty good. Group ranks now being increased to 10. That's good. Alliance changes will now be logged in the company. That's pretty good. You can now sort the company log display internet. Okay. A new group setting which can grab ownership permissions from company members, which can only be set by owner. That's pretty good. I have no complaints with that. An alliance now only contains a maximum of 4 companies. A company can only be in 2 different alliances at a time. Ooh. Now, see, that is a good thing or in a bad thing at the same time, because players will still find ways to ally themselves. For example, company A or B will live within 4 grids or 3 grids, whatever number you want, and they will still be friendly towards certain companies because they're part of their alliance. So putting a limit on how many alliances there can be is totally fine, but it won't stop people from allying themselves, because it's a human factor. People will still have friends within that are protected by the alliance and such. So that doesn't bother me too much. I think it would be very similar to like our conquest mode, where there was a limit to those stuff and people were still friendly to each other within the same server. It just makes it easier for the attacker. It's actually a huge buff for the attackers, because if an alliance grid is being attacked but you're not really allied with them, you won't know until someone else points it on like a Discord channel and stuff like that. So it's more of a buff towards an attacking side in a way. Sea claim flags have been eliminated. I think that's great. Claim flags can no longer be used to steal structure ownership on land. Okay. Claim flags can no longer be merged into other company. I think that's actually good. The whole thing about not being able to steal all these people's bases, I don't know. I kind of like the idea of being able to steal someone's base, but at the same time, it also sucks that you put all this work into this one base, and then all of a sudden you don't happen to be online, and someone just logs in and it steals your whole base, and you're like, oh wow, gee, why do I even bother? So I think it's a good thing, but as someone that's mostly PB, I'm like, well, now I won't get to steal someone else's base. There will be a hard limit on the total number of claim flags per company. There will be a hard limit on the total of claim flags per company. For example, 20. Numbers can be adjusted. Flag cannot be placed without tax bank. Okay, it's not bad. Claiming an island will take a fixed amount of time plus an additional amount per claim flag owned. For example, 1 hour to claim and 1 hour per owner claim flag. Numbers can be adjusted. So So I have a flag that I can use to make a settlement, but I can also put more claim flags, which is maybe another type of flag to claim more structures. I feel like I need more information about this. I'm not exactly sure. Declaiming will always take a fixed amount of time. For example, 2 hours. Numbers can be adjusted. Okay. Now, claim flags now have an upkeep cost, which is paid from the tax bank. The upkeep cost will be an assortment of resources. So I guess that means that I make my island a settlement. But let me see. Players can now an island which has been claimed is now known as the settlement. Only one claim flag can be placed per island, and the ownership per company. So how many settlements can I own though? Like if I'm a mega company and I go try to claim 2 islands, can I only make one of those islands my settlement, or can I have multiple settlements as a company? I feel like the way they could change it is make one island your settlement, and then use your claim flags to expand your controlled over other tiles, and you have to pay the upkeep, but you should only be able to have one settlement as a company, not have like multiple settlements, you know? But I don't know. Claim flags now have an upkeep cost, which can be prevented. The upkeep cost will be an assortment of resources. Okay, that's good. The upkeep cost will scale on the size of the island, the total number of claim flags the company has, and how many different companies players have built on the island. Okay. Players can only place items on the tax bank. Okay. Claim flag will have a grace period after a successful claim to allow resources to gather. Okay. The claim flag will visualize if the upkeep will not be met, so players are able to contribute directly to the tax bank. Then will stack resources like a cheap resource box. Okay. Settlement owners must set a window of vulnerability, currently set to 9 hours, where their islands is raidable. Outside of this window, players, structures, and chips will not take damage from other players. There will be a timer on players before they receive the vulnerability status. So, from reading that, what I will do is that I will set, if I'm as the owner of the settlement, I can set the timer when I can be raided. That's from my understanding, right? Settlements must set a window of vulnerability, so I can set when I can be vulnerable. So that means, for example, if I'm an Asian company and most of my players are from Asia, I can just put my window of vulnerability within my prime time. If I'm a European company, most of my players are European or whatever, I can set that vulnerability window during my prime time, so I can only be attacked within my prime time, which I think is kind of a huge nerf for mega companies, which I personally think is a good thing. Maybe a lot of people will find that controversial. Oh no, Dolphin, no, now the game is more PvE now. Well, not necessarily. It's just like a huge nerf. You won't need to now, as someone that plays the game, you won't need to have players from all over the world to just cover a 24-hour shift. Because what happens in the current meta, and this happens in Ark and Atlas, and maybe some other games that are similar, although I don't think any other game is similar to Ark and Atlas. You need to have players from all over the world to cover a 24-hour shift, because you need to be able to man your defenses, be on the server 24/7. So that way and because of that, you need players from Europe, you need players from America, you need players from Asia, you need players from anywhere in the world to be able to cover a 24-hour shift, because you need at least 1 or 2 people online to be able to defend. So what this does is like, well, I don't need to have people from all over the world on my company to be able to defend myself now, because if I just set a window of vulnerability, that means that I will only be attacked within the time that I play, and that way I don't need people from other parts of the world in my company to be able to play. Because in the past that was a necessity. You had to have players from Asia, you had to have players from Europe, or you had to have players from Latin America, because you had no choice. You had to in order to be able to survive. So with that, it's like, well, I don't need to anymore. So now I can play with a smaller group if I wanted to. If you see it that way. So it's like a big FU to mega companies. You don't need to be in a mega company in order to survive. That's the way I see that. Which I think is a good thing. Some people see this as a bad thing. If you're a hardcore survival gamer and you just all you know is Mega Tribe life, Mega Alliance life, then that change is against you. And I think personally, as someone that sees the game from the perspective of a small player, a small group, and a mega company, as I play all of those, I think this is actually a really good thing. Anchor boats or dock boats will follow these same rules if they are in radius of settlement. So, actually that doesn't bother me too much, because people could see that as a, oh man, I'm getting chased by a galleon, I'm gonna run towards my settlement, anchor, and I'll be unboardable. And, well, technically, we have something like that already in Atlas, because you can make your port, you can add multiple cannons and make an artificial port where you have to go through this labyrinth to get inside your main port. So, and if somebody chases you, they will get shot by cannons and mortars the moment they enter your zone. So this is kind of the same thing without having to add all these extra structures to protect your port. So I don't think that bothers me too much. Non-settlement owners who have cannons on ships in our anchor should not be allowed to fire cannons outside of the wartime. Non-settlement owners who have cannons on ships in our anchor should not be allowed to fire cannons outside of the wartime. Okay. Settlement owners can freely damage other characters and structures on their island. Oof. So how would that work? Like, for example, I'm a freaking dictator settle owner, and all of a sudden I don't like this tribe because they don't do what I tell them to do. I can just go demo their base or damage the structures, but can they fight back though? Can they do damage back? Like, how would that work? Like, what if I'm just renting? I'm a new player, and all of a sudden I don't want this person on my land. Do I just go demo their base? I don't know how this is gonna work though. Like, you have to look at it the perspective of, like, people who play survival games are evil. That's the way I see it. Every person that plays a survival game, it brings the worst out of a human being in a survival game. So, because you have to survive, you have to do whatever is necessary to live. So if you have someone you don't like, and you have the power to deny them that, you would just go demolish their base. That's what I would do. I would just go demo their base, or just declare war. If they cannot find, if you have to make it so, well, if you have you have to make it so you can't really demonstrate the structures, or you have to give them a time make a system where give them time window to either defend themselves within your settlement or something, so they can, your settlement owners can defend. I don't know how you can make that work, because if your settlement owner can freely damage other players' structures, characters on their island, that I don't know how that adds to the human factor, and you have to think about that when you make that change, right? Because people that play survival games are not good people when it comes to playing survival games, which is not. We're not, unless we're playing PvE, which is not gonna be. We'll be friends to our allies, but everyone else that's not really part of it is just an enemy, which is we just shoot on sight. So I don't know how that's gonna work with the whole settlement system. Settlement owners can set taxes on their island, which automatically be deposited into the tax pack. Okay, so I mean, if they're contributing to your system, I guess you can let them live. But the problem is that if all of a sudden I decide not to let them live, you could just demo their structure, you know. So I don't know. Structures that are built on a settlement which do not belong to the settlement owner will have a decay timer. Okay. Player run shops which are placed on islands can also be taxed by settlement owners. I think you're just giving a little bit too much power to settlement owners. I think it needs to be cut back a bit, especially because the way it is being described right now, any person that rushes to an island makes a settlement for them, creates an island as a settlement. you know, and I need to build, I need to have a place to live, I'm at the mercy of that person now. And if there are only one settlement allowed per island, then it's whoever rushes first. So you're hoping that you have someone that's actually nice as the dictator of your island. Declaring war. Players can purchase a war token significance, which can be used to declare war on an island. Kind of like I think Dark and Light and Conan have a very similar system to this. When war is declared on an island, players must select a scheduled time for future 3 days to 1 week. Only one war can be scheduled. So this confuses me a little bit because well, a settlement order can set the window of vulnerability. So what does this mean with this? If I can buy a war token, and let's say the island I have a beef with, their prime time is, let's say, 2 a.m. Eastern, which is Chinese prime time for any Eastern player on the east side, on the Eastern time zone. For example, my prime time would be maybe sometime after 5 p.m. Eastern up to 11 p.m. Eastern, and that means that I would set my window of vulnerability within that time zone, but the enemy has their time window of vulnerability between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. my time. So if I declare war, would that throw away the whole window of vulnerability, or can I only declare war within their window of vulnerability? This is a little bit confusing. So yeah, it's like when players can purchase a war token. So I guess I have to declare war within their window of vulnerability, and I have no other choice. So if I want to make war to them, if I want to attack them and declare war on their island, I have to buy that token and declare war within their prime time. So I don't know how that would work, but I don't see that necessarily as a bad thing. Because okay, so I have to schedule war 3 days from now, and I can only attack them within their prime zone. So I guess that's fine. Only one war can be scheduled once. Okay, there's a cooldown after a war has ended before another war could be declared on an island. Actually, yeah, this is actually also declaring. Before I get to that, declaring war per island. Declaring war is per island, so it's possible to declare war against multiple islands at the same time. So, going through this really quickly, this is also a big nerf against mega companies when you look at it this way, because the whole point of a mega company alliance when you're playing in a game like this is to completely wipe your enemy, deny them the ability to rebuild, deny them the ability to play the game, because that's how you win a war in this game. And you can say the same thing about Ark in a way. And that doesn't really apply to EVE Online or like maybe other games, but I'm not really specifically know about EVE Online, so I don't play that game as much. But yeah, that's so if you declare war to someone and you raid them, or like let's say you wipe them off, they will still have the chance to live within that island, and because there will be a cooldown after that war. Now the question is, how long is this cooldown going to be? Is it going to be 3 days? Is it going to be 7 days? Is it going to be a week, a month? Because that dictates how long a person has or a group has before they get attacked again. Because let's say, okay, I declare war on this company and I wipe them off completely. I kill all the tames, I kill all the structures, I popcorn every single item they have, destroy all their boats, but that company still has something still in their island, or I haven't been able to successfully destroy every single base in their island. How long will this time window be before I can declare war again and completely finish them off? So I don't know how that could be. I would like to see the time window I personally would like to see the time window be maybe like 7 days, but that maybe be too long. Like you have to think about when you make this change. You have to think about how long does it take for a company to recover from an attack, and many companies don't like that. Simple as that. I want to be able to constantly attack. I want to be able to constantly grieve them. I want to be able to, you know, do war to these people and completely push them off the game. Because that's the point. You want to push them off the game in order to win. And as maybe as a developer, someone would think, maybe we don't want people to be pushed off the game. It's not nice. So I would say make this cooldown window a little bit larger, maybe more than 3 days for sure, for a company to recover. Because we, in a way, we have kind of this rule set in Ark Unofficial. In Ark Unofficial, what we would do is, especially someone that ran some PvP server, we'll have rules where, okay, so we have all these people playing our server, and we have to make a rule set where if a tribe got raided, you can't attack them within a certain amount of time, and at the time we figured out 3 days or like 7 days was the window enough for them to recover, to rebuild, and be able to PvP again. So you have to be very careful what the cooldown is when you make this change. Like you can't just put, okay, well, you declare war, you can declare war again in 3 days. 3 days is not enough for someone to recover. So you might want to make that a little bit a bigger time window. Wars would last a fixed period of time. Okay. So once again, I don't understand with this. Like when I declare war, does that remove completely someone's invulnerability window? I don't understand. So maybe I'm getting this wrong. Like maybe the wartime completely removes the vulnerability window. It's very confusing. Like I don't think it should. I don't know if it should remove the vulnerability window when you declare wartime. I think a lot of these things need to be worked out on the PTR. We'll see from there. When an ally has been deemed warlike, building rules no longer apply. After war has ended, no more rules are enacted again. See, this one change, what this will do is it will encourage people to make foundation spam. Because when you want to attack an island, you need to fight in land. And in order to fight in land, you need to have your own land, make a forward operating base in order to fight. So if you make a change where building rules no longer apply because of the new claim system, what will people do is they will make foundation spam all over their island to prevent an attacker from building. So, but because So I don't know, like, you need to make it so people, if you want to go through this, you have to make it so people can do foundation spam. Yeah, people have figured out so many ways to get around it in Ark. Like, make a foundation and put a fence foundation on top of it, make a foundation and put a ladder on top of it to get out, to, you know, get rid of the decay, put a pillar and then a ladder on top of it to get rid of the decay. So I don't know how you can get rid of foundation spam in like this, unless you give something to very quickly destroy foundation spam. And Ark, they kind of fixed this issue by giving players the mech and the titans because they eat metal very quickly. So unless, but I'm not asking, give me a giant robot and a freaking titan to get rid of spam, because people, if you go through this change, people will make a spam to defend themselves. So you need to have a counter for this. You need to have a counter for spam, or make it, or add a system where the spam, you know, people can build within the spam or something. I don't know. You have to be very careful of that, because people will make a spam if you go to that, if it goes exactly like this. Alright, let me go through settlement build rules. Only the owner of a settlement will be able to build offensive structures. Other companies can build defensive structures at any time. Other companies can build offensive structures only during wartime. Outside of wartime, these structures are non-functional. I feel like once again there's too much power within the settlement owner. Other companies can build defensive structures. I feel like there's not enough defensive structures. I think shovel guns are actually much more effective. Sadly, shovel guns are actually much more effective as a defensive structure than puckle. Puckle are really puckle just don't do enough damage in general. It's just and there's not enough defensive structures really in this game. And once again, that means I will have to make a ridiculous amount of puckles to defend my base. You need to make it so like maybe shovels and puckles can count as the defensive structures, to be honest. But yeah, I think that could work in a way. Because if offensive structures are disabled during wartime, that means that a random person that I'm renting to that can build anywhere my island can build a random mortar and attack the settlement owner. So I guess in a way that could work. But once again, there's not enough defensive structures for the settlers. And puckles, let's be serious, puckles just don't do enough damage. Players can sign up for email notifications related to a company log activity. Okay, that's not bad. Company logs have less of physical in-world location. Okay. Lawless service. Lawless will continue to operate like normal. Okay, so that's like Lawless are pretty much untouched, just except for like damage decay added over time on all structures. Okay, that's actually pretty good. You have to make it so people up to this day, people still have main bases on Lawless. You really have to make it so people can't live in Lawless permanently. You have to add a huge damage decay because people would just build on Lawless for as long as they can. I would just make it like it is on Freeports, which just takes a ridiculous amount of damage and anyone can destroy your structures after a certain amount of time. Which I think 30 minutes on Freeports? I'm not sure. PvP network, no claim flags. I think that's good. Damage decay over time added to all structures. But a new auto repair structure which players will need to upkeep to prevent the structures from being destroyed by decay. Okay, so you have to maintain. If you don't maintain your that new structure, then you know all the other structures will take damage. Okay. Well redesigned. Over 200 islands added to the network, approximately 1 additional island per grid. So, wait, does that mean that the existing islands, will you add 1 more island within that grid? So, my issue right now with the existing islands, for example, the grid is pretty big. But the problem is that there's just too much water and the islands are really small. This is one of my biggest annoyances with Atlas, is that there's so much water, which is fine. The game is about pirate game and sailing, but the islands themselves are just so small. Like, it only takes me like 5 minutes to 10 minutes just to go around the whole island, which I think is pretty bad. There's a few exceptions. For example, A4. A4 has the biggest island in the game, and it's only 2 islands on A4. N10 on PvP, the north and the southern island are literally a copy paste. They look exactly the same. If you look at the map, N10 looks exactly the same. The southern and the northern island look the same. Same thing with like some of the Arctic zones. It's only 2 islands in those. You need to add more islands. I will add 2 more islands per grid, and honestly, make the islands bigger. There's just a lot of the islands that are in there are just so small that 99% of each grid, each tile is just water. And this is why people are having. This is one of the reasons why people also are having issues with land, because hey, I'm claiming land. I have this settlement where I can build on, but the island that I live on is so small I can't let anyone else build in there because it's so tiny. So that's one of the biggest annoyances right now with the game. Just the islands are just too small, and it's only 3, sometimes just 2. and they're not that big enough for a group of people. And a lot of times it's only like one type of resource on one particular island, and some other islands only have luckily enough some of them have two, which is nice. But I feel like every tile needs to have two types of resource. Players can now set any service as their home server. Okay. Cool. Following the wipe, the potential for free to be overloaded will be temporarily enabling settling in Atlas service. Any Atlas server is your home server. Boom. Interesting. Footnotes for Marchman. Updated new vehicle submarine. Explore the depths of the ocean in small. I think regarding the submarine, from what I read is from what the devs mentioned is that you'll be able to unlock the submarine by killing the Kraken, and I think that's actually at this point in time, I think that's actually kind of a mistake, because what we've seen so far in Atlas is that the only people that have been able to do the Kraken have been only mega alliances, and I have not seen a single solo player or small group being able to defeat the Kraken. If you use the Ark comparison, which is your previous game, even solo players are able to defeat the bosses. And you know, it's hard, but the option is there and they can do it. In this game currently, because the way the boss fight works with the Kraken, you need a large number of people to do it. And you could say, oh yeah, well let people like team up and like defeat the Kraken. Well, we already have that, but the only people that can do it are the mega companies, because they have the resources to do so. And you're putting an end-game item that at the current point in time, when even after the wipe, only mega companies will most likely be the only ones, or the majority of the ones that are able to reach this part of the end game. The way I would change it, and this is my personal be honest, I would make it so yeah, okay, fine. You want to make this an end game item, you know, and you have to defeat the Kraken. Okay, fine, but make it so people can sell the submarine on the player market. Pretty much, just make it so yeah, make it so like okay, people can build I can pre-make a submarine, and then put it for sale on a free port. Right, make it so it's an item, and then I can release it on, and I can put it in my inventory, then release it on the ocean, and then if I want to, I can just sell that item in the player market. That way, the people that are not able to reach the end game have the option to use it by buying it out of someone. This will create at the same time, you know, a system where people can sell and buy stuff out of the market. And culture giant crab. I think the giant crab is an interesting idea. I don't mind it. Looks pretty cool. How will it work on PvP? Who knows? Might be a little bit too strong. Right now, one of the issues that I have with the current state of ground PvP, not so much sea naval battles, is that ground PvP is so focused on tames, and that really needs to have the devs need to take a look at that after the wipe, because tames are just too strong. It just like a lot of the recent battles like people have seen the streams in general, it's just like bears and horses with shovel guns on the backs. Even though they removed the AI from them, they're still pretty good. It's a little more skill based, but still too good. They still do too much. They're still too tanky because people can just use nature touch to heal them. And yeah, the PvP is just too focused around themes. And I think that's because of nature's touch. And just people can just you can just do nature's touch, dismount, have another person mount on it, and do nature's touch right after that. I think this to be you need to make it so tames in this game are currently very easy to tame, but they're very tanky and they cannot die that quickly during ground PvP. I think I think because of nature, so you just make it so the cooldown on nature touch is even greater, and they cannot. Once nature is being applied, cannot be applied again by another player, because things just take horses and bears just take too long for them to die, and shovel guns cars are just too good at this current point in time. And like tigers are just very good, too good in general. Just pretty much every team in general is just too strong. And the ground PvP is mostly about teams these days. And I think that's because of nature touch, because things can just be healed very quickly. Some of these updates are pretty good. The galleons. My only concern right now is that the ghost ship galleon is. When I saw it fire on the depth stream, I saw all of the cannons stacked on one plank, and they're not spread out. They're not. It's not as spread as like a normal galleon. I think the way they have it is like all the cannons shoot at one specific plank and location. The fire needs to be the cannons needs to be a little more spread out when the ghost ships fire, because but that's a little bit too scary. Oh, there's a ghost ship. Oh, it just planked my whole boat because the cannons are stacked. So yeah, cosmetics are pretty good. I think that's actually interesting. That will give like RP service something else. I think it's nice. I don't care too much about it for PP, so pretty good regardless. Alright, let me cover the rest of the devs. New feature. Players in Freeports. Player shops in Freeports. Players can set automated shops on each port, listing loot for sale, and mining their own gold coin price. Naming their own gold prices. Territory will now display. So the thing about the Freeports, once again, you need to make it maybe not just gold. Make it so you like allow all the types of prices to be used as payment. Allow me to sell my animals. Allow me to sell bears. Allow me to sell rhinos, because people that live on a tile they cannot tame rhinos and they have to go 7 to 6, 5 to 9 tiles away just to find a rhino and tame it. It's such a pain in the ass. So if you add a player shop where I can sell pretty much anything, and let's say I want to sell this rhino for like 5,000, 1,000 cobalt, you know, there is the option there, or gold. I can sell. Maybe I can make it so maybe I can set 3 types of different kind of payments. Maybe if I want to sell this rhino or this item, you can either give me 3,000 gold, you can either give me 3,000 cobalt or 3,000 wood, right? And not just one specific item. You can either give me this one of these 3 types of payments if you want this item, because you want to have the option. You want people to use your markets. And if you put too much limitations on how one can be paid, then it's kind of pointless. Especially if you make it so only gold can be put as payment, then it's gonna fail, because I can farm 20,000 gold, and I have farmed 20,000 gold within 4 hours doing ×2. So gold has no real value, and what people use mostly for like trading is really items and other stuff. So please allow not just gold, but maybe all the types of stuff that can be used as payment, and that will help greatly. Characters created as a hide. Okay. Any that shipwrecks from any company will appear a unique item. Okay, cool. Currently contested claims will indicate on the minimap. That's actually great. Players can now mount a sailed. Okay, that's pretty good. Vitamin rebalance. No one. I really don't like the vitamin system. It just needs to be so you need to make it so my vitamins don't drain so quickly, and you need to change the way the food and water system works, because this is an inherent problem of survival games in general. And a lot of people, streamers, players, everyone always complains about food and water all the time, and it's never really addressed by any company. Because they're like, well, we want to be able, you have to feed yourself because it's a survival game. Well, yes, but you're making it so I have to feed myself every time I run, every time I walk, every 5 minutes or so. And that is a huge problem that has never been fixed on any survival game. It's annoying. And the reason why I'm saying that is because this is the way the system works in most survival games. I run, and it's a lot of time it's based on stamina, and this game is a lot. And since there's no movement speed stat, I have to put points on stamina, which in turn makes me hungry and thirsty quicker, based where I'm located. If it's a hot sun, I get thirsty quicker. If I'm in a cold zone, I get hungry a lot quicker, because my food bar drains based on my stamina bar. So if I run and drain my stamina to 0, my food will start draining based on how much stamina I have. So if I have too much stamina, I will get hungry a lot quicker. And that needs to change. You need to change that variable, that food variable, from 1 to something lower, 0.5, 0.2, whatever you want to call it. You have to make it so players don't get hungry and thirsty so quickly, because that is such a huge noise. I'd rather just put a campfire and kill myself to respawn. And I don't think any player in any survival game will disagree with this, because if it's a lot quicker just to kill yourself than to feed yourself currently in Atlas, and that needs to change. Pistol reloading now changed to have a mini game appear back to back rather than throughout various points of the animation. I think that's great. Weapons, in my opinion, need to get a little buffed in general. Like guns are just too weak against teams. Yeah, it definitely takes a lot. It takes a little bit too long to reload a gun. I would like slightly make it slightly faster. It doesn't need to be like a freaking machine gun either. Battery spawner adjustments fixed across all the. I hope they really address the issue with PvE islands, also known as Golden Ruins, where I run into a Golden Ruin and there's like 1,000 Cyclops, and that's a huge annoyance. Like, for example, running into a Cyclops should be like something you don't have to do. Having to find a Cyclone or Cyclops or like a fire element, it shouldn't be something you have to do every 100 meters, because that's what happens. Every 50 meters, every 10 meters, there's a new Cyclops, a new fire elemental. And that needs to change. It should be like an epic encounter or something where it doesn't happen all the time, and I shouldn't be ganked by Cobras and wolves teaming up on me. That's just, the AI in this game is very frustrating in that sense, when you have like different types of teams teaming up on you. When, you know, a Cobra shouldn't be teaming up with a wolf just to attack me. Players can respond and serve the died on. That's good. Grappling hook is. I saw the revamping of the grappling hook. I think it's amazing. I can't wait for it. So yeah. In general, right now I'm gonna touch some of my personal abuse and things that I would like to see. And I talk about this a little more privately, and I probably messaged one of the devs at some point about it, my thoughts on this. But I personally feel like the game needs to be. The game was advertised as a survival MMO, and the problem with this is that when people see the word MMO, they think World of Warcraft, they think EVE Online, they think, you know, mass multiplayer RPG game, you know. So they assume a lot of the features from MMOs will be in the game, and I think that's what a lot of people that bought the game did. That they bought thinking MMO, and unfortunately, there's not that many MMO features in the game. The game feels a lot more survival, and because of it, I would like to see more MMO type of features. I personally think the whole land system needs to be more of, well, yeah, you can claim land, but I feel like land shouldn't be. You shouldn't be forced to have land. That's the way I see it in this kind of game. You shouldn't be forced to have your own island, and that is the way you need to play the game. You need to have land in order to build, in order to do this. I think player building on land should be an option and not a must. Right? For example, a lot of people have suggested like the docking system from EVE Online. Make it so like I can upload my ships on the cloud. I can upload my animals on the cloud. I can upload my items on the cloud and then come back the next day and just download and go do my own thing. So that way I can have like 5 or 7 types of 7 chips on my upload, and just use whatever I need wherever I need to go. So LAN could be more of a luxury rather than a must. There needs to be more things to do when it comes to like pirate things. Like I still like the idea of being able to have PvE islands where the islands are governed by NPCs, and you can take a quest where it tells me go assassinate this the mayor of this town, and you know you have to go through these different types of NPCs, and that the quest resets, you know, after it's complete, and another group can do it, and different types of quests that you can do within one tile, and things like that, right? I would like to see the current capes for the power stones worked a little bit differently. For example, you need to go kill a Hydra or a dragon to get a power stone to the power stone islands. But the problem with that is that it's so easy to cheese. Like I can just the way we're doing right now is just we lure a Hydra to the coast and just ballista it with a boat from a distance, and that's the end of it. That's just the best way to do it. Same thing with a dragon, just cheese it by just luring it to a boat or with a bear with ballistas, and that's it. I would make it, honestly, I would make it more like the way you have it on Arc Extinction, where you go to this cave and you summon the Hydra, and the Hydra is within this arena, within that island, and you cannot damage it outside of the arena. You have to fight it within this arena, within the island, and anyone can come and attack you while they're doing it, or like it's like an open world boss fight, kind of like you have it in Arc. I think that would make it more interesting, and that would make it so people can cheese the Hydras and the dragons. Heck, I would even change, so like use different palettes of, like, for example, go to Power Stone Island and a bigger version of the Cyclops with a different color palette shows up, and you have to find the Cyclops within that you know, this arena within that island, and that can only be damaged within that arena, right? Things like that. That way people will have to go inland, bring Thames, and go fight the Hydra instead of just cheesing it. Same thing with some of the stuff you can do at Freeports. I don't like the deal of having to go to Freeport to buy a soup to respect. I thought that was actually an item that I can buy and then respect whenever time I want. I think that would be great instead. Alright, but I think that's all I got for now. But yeah. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.